make one-way bets. This isn't portfolio balancing you're talking about.
No, all that asset management, diversification, that's for idiots.
Diversification, that's for idiots.
You can't diversify enough to know what you're doing.
Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, you know who it is. Good Doc Talk Stocks back again, once again. Don't only get the likes up, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get your stocks up too. And in this video, or in this previous clip that you guys just saw, we have none other than the guru himself, Mr. Mark Cuban. Now, we all know Mark Cuban as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the former owner, was it Comcast or Broadcast? Can't remember off the top of my head. Sold it, made billions off of it, bought the Dallas Mavericks. Now you see him on Shark Tank. The homie is killing it in the game today. But in this clip, I wanted to talk about something extremely important to me in reference to how I like to invest, in reference to how I choose to invest, and the fact that he says that people who choose to diversify are technically idiots. Now, this has been something that has been going around, at least something that I've been saying for the last few months that I've actually been in the investing game. I do not invest in ETFs. I do not invest in any type of ETFs, index funds, and things like that. My portfolio consists of only individual stocks and shares. If you ask anybody who knows me, and I say this all the time, I always tell you that investing in index funds and ETFs is cheating to me. It's considered cheating, because why am I going to put money in 100 different stocks so that I just break even over time? I'm not trying to break even, or I'm not trying to even myself out, man. I'm trying to make this thing work for me. So that's actually something that I learned from Mark Cuban and also Warren Buffett. Not necessarily that diversification is for idiots, but the simple fact that diversification, in my opinion, just means that you don't actually understand what you're getting yourself into. Yes, it is a protection towards ignorance, and I respect anybody who actually gets into it. But me, myself, I'm investing in individual stocks long term. I often tell people this, and people probably look at me like I'm crazy, but this is how I choose to live my life. If I'm going to invest in stocks, I'm going to invest in stocks that I believe in. We talked about that in the last video. Only get into companies and stuff that you recognize, things that you're familiar with, things that you can actually see yourself getting into. The only time I will ever invest in ETFs and index funds is after I'm gone, after I'm dead and gone. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because I can't simply rely on the fact that my significant other, whatever family I leave behind, is gonna understand or know how to manipulate and do stocks the way that I do, or run the stocks the way that I do. So rather than having them trying to complicate their lives, and hopefully I could be able to teach them something along the way, but rather than having to go through all of that, I will take every last dollar that I make out of all the individual stocks that I choose to have, or individual positions or holdings I choose to have, and I'll probably put it in a Vanguard ETF. That is the only thing I'm going to do. That way, my young lady, my significant other, whatever kids that I may choose to have in the future, if I choose to have some, all they got to do is worry about the payouts. They don't have to worry about and drip buying. They ain't got to worry about doing all this other stuff unless they choose to. By that time, they'll probably have their own portfolios to work on. But my portfolio, in reference to making sure that my people are okay, I'll probably put it in a Vanguard ETF, a VOO, or something like that. I'm not telling you that's what you need to go into, but whatever money I make, hopefully I have enough time to put it in my will and testament that my lawyer shift all of my money over into a Vanguard ETF, or VOO, or whatever it may be, and let my people reap the benefits of it whenever the payouts come. That's my only time that I will ever invest in ETFs and index funds. And it kind of started here. I mean, me and my mentor, we talk about it all the time in reference to, get into things that individual stocks are way better than investing in a portfolio or S&P 500 that has over 500 companies, because you're getting a piece of this, a piece of this, a piece of that. If I can, I'd rather own whole shares. I will admit, I often thought fractional sharing was cheating too. I used to say that all the time to people that I know. Fractional sharing is cheating, until I got into Tesla. I couldn't afford a whole thing of Tesla in the beginning, so I fractional shared that bitch. I only owned half of a share for a long, meaningful period of time. Only after a few years, not after a few years, but after a few months or so, I was able to actually be able to afford, some whole shares, with the money that I'm making now. So I won't get into the whole fractional share thing, but we used to joke about it. But there's one thing that I do take seriously, guys: diversification. I agree with it, but I'm only getting into companies that I can read a balance sheet on, that I can see the way they're moving, see the way that they're rocking, and say I can understand where the movement is, and I can see myself getting involved in that movement. All right, it doesn't mean that I have to know everything about electronic vehicles to sit there and tell you everything you need to know about Tesla or NIO or anything like that. But my McDonald's, my Coca-Colas, man, my Pepsis, my all of my real estate REITs, my REITs, my real estate investment trust, all of my REITs and stuff. You can read a balance sheet on a REIT and see if they're collecting or what percentage of collections they've been able to have over the last few months since the pandemic started. Are they collecting at 90%? Are they collecting at 80%? It's right in front of your faces. So if you're able to educate yourself, you don't necessarily have to own real estate to be able to invest in a real estate REITs. I'm saying specifically, I don't believe in diversifying my portfolio to the point where I own a piece or a fraction of 500 different companies because I want to invest in the S&P 500. I will never do that. And the day that I change my mind and say, F it, I'll do it, I'll let you know. But up until this point right now, I don't see the purpose in it. The only purpose I see is getting into individual stocks that I know I can rock with. Because I can't tell you that I rock with 500 different companies, guys. I can't even name 500 companies that have a stock ticker that I could actually rock with. My positions are very minimal right now. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm looking to downsize. I mean, I need the diversification, but if I can plug in a significant amount of money in a stock that I know has potential to actually blow, or something that could potentially do good in the next 5 to 10 years or so, I don't mind getting out of other positions where I may not add anything else to it and put more money into these if I choose to. Or I'll take the money that I'm making on my side hustles or the money that I'm making with my main job and put it into these stocks. That's kind of how we work this thing. Is diversification for idiots? No. It does protect you from ignorance. Yes, if you don't know the market, you need to protect yourself at all costs. But me, I'm just not that guy. Even if I didn't know anything about it, if you plug something in my ear or put a bug in my ear and say, yo, doc, I think you might want to look into this. How hard is it for you to actually look into a company? How hard is it for you? How hard is it for you to research articles about what people are saying about these companies? I'm not saying that you got to take everything they say with a grain of salt, but what I am saying is once you start to see consistency in the way that they're choosing to talk, you'll get an idea of the trend in the way things might be moving. How you choose to invest, like I said, you want to do a little drip buying and things like that if it's low. If you want to just dollar cost average as the thing rises, you do what you got to do. But I'm telling you like this, ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe in ETFs or index funds. I don't. Diversification, I'm not going to say it's for idiots, like Mark Cuban says, but I will say it's not for me. Because I don't, like I said, I don't rock with 500 companies. So S&P 500 off the books, in my opinion. Like I said, the Vanguard ETFs and stuff like that, I'll look into those towards the end of life. And again, I can't predict when I'm going to expire, of course, but I'll put it in my will and testament to make that shift. If I have a significant or a substantial amount of money to where it could rock that way, that's what I will do. If I don't, to each their own, it'll be all right. But I want to know how you guys feel in the comment section below. I know a lot of my guys are big on ETFs. I know a lot of my guys are big on the index funds, and that's all they talk about. They like, look, man, regardless of the fact, whenever I get a payout from my index fund, I'm just reinvesting it. I'm just taking it out and reinvesting. And again, the snowball effect, the compound interest, we all know how the game works. But that's just not for me, man. I'd rather invest in individual stocks. It's crazy. I would rather risk it by investing in individual stocks. That's just me personally. So when Mark Cuban says what he says when he said it, I'm with him 100%. I have to agree with the man. I like the way he rocks. I can't see myself in 100 different companies, because then I have to try to track my payouts and stuff like that. Because again, you know, you got to see if you're a dividend investor, you got to track when your payouts are coming, who's paying what and who's paying what when, and all of that stuff. And it becomes a pain. And how much you might be considered getting paid and stuff like that. Unless you keep a spreadsheet that keeps you up to date, unless you're able to keep up when dividends decrease or get cut, or when dividends increase and do the damn thing, or how much shares you got, how much you're expected to get out of it. it's a whole lot easier to be able to focus on just a handful of stocks. You only really need a handful of stocks to get rich in this game. I know that for sure. Which stocks you choose are completely up to you. Just make sure you choosing something that you know you can trust. Just make sure you choosing something that you know you're willing to ride out on. One that you are willing to fall on the sword for. That's the best way for me to put it. Make sure you invest in something you're willing to fall on the sword for. Because I'm telling you, you might have to. You might have to bite the bullet on a couple of things. You might have to take some L's before you take some dubs. You might have to. I hate the saying. I made that video about that too. I hate the saying that you gotta lose before you win, because I think it's ignorant, and I don't think you have to lose in order to win. You can just win. Millionaires are created during times like these, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you pick up what I'm putting down. Again, don't only get the likes up, man. Make sure you get your stocks up, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Good Doc Talk Stocks. I am out. Stay blessed. Stay true. Peace.